Hello, welcome back to Starting Stand Up. Let's go. This is our 10th episode, double digits. We've done it. We're in the double digits. We're legit. So to commemorate double digits, I've decided to go back to the basics, kind of this journal ethos. And I haven't shared that many open mics, and I started to feel bad because honestly, that's where the action is. The whole point of this thing is to get good at stand-up comedy. And so I'm going to share two open mics, my 5th and 6th. I did them in April. They're the same material, and you're going to see how the material shifted and how one audience didn't respond to it at all. And then the next audience responded to it pretty well, and it's similar material. So valuable data, and then I'll analyze it, and we'll get into it. Thank you for listening to these amazing interviews. If you haven't listened to previous episodes, you can bomb around. But Jeremy Sisto and my wife been getting a lot of wonderful feedback. I appreciate it very, very much. Wind in my sails. So listen to this and then go back and explore. We've got double digits episodes. We're legit. This is a real podcast. Let's start stand up.
Oh man, that's rubbish! That's rubbish!
Okay, so here is open mic number 5. It's the second half. What we're going to do is why do I keep saying we? That's the royal we. It's me and my AI producer, Claude. So we are going to share with you this clip. This is getting into the weeds now. Get ready to get technical. I will do my best. But what we're doing is this. We're analyzing. We're getting into the nitty gritty. Here is a bit I came up with in this idea of where I decided that my persona was going to be someone who's done too much psychedelics, that someone who's taken too many drugs. And it was a way of giving myself license to talk about things that I thought were interesting. Now, this is the first attempt, but of all the open mics I've done, and I totally forgot I did this, but this is where I was connected emotionally to what I was saying. Now, nobody was laughing, but when I listen back on this, I actually like the level of energy and connection I had to the material. And if the material got better and tighter and more and funnier, I think this energy is a place where I want to be. It was full of life and full of not giving a fuck. And then a beautiful moment at the end where I exhibit some incredible delusion, which will be a little Easter egg, and I'll say after I show it. But here is open mic number 5, the second half of it, and I will then play open mic 6 where I try this again, and for a different crowd with much greater success. But I don't actually think the performance was as good, if that makes sense. Okay, lots of exciting stuff. You know, one of the other things that I'm having a hard time with after doing hallucinogenics is everyone feels like an ape to me, like a great ape, because we are. We think we're human, we think we're special, but we are literally great apes. And so I'm like walking down the street, and I'm just like, everyone. It's not like I imagine people without their clothes to not feel nervous. It's just like everyone feels like they're like ancient roaming across the plain people, and it's making me wonder, like, what is the essence of our apeness? And I think ultimately it's one is that we lie all the time. You know what I mean? Like, we're apes that lie. Like we've probably all lied 100 times today. No, like someone said, "How are you doing?" and you're like, "I'm great." It's like, clearly you're not great. Like some people, I can tell like you were crying earlier today, or I can tell even that you've got a little bowel trouble. You have to go number 3. You're not great. And then that got me thinking about just shitting in general. Like, I think it's insane that we're still shitting as humans. Like, we have iPhones, we have computers. How have we not figured this out? We have to stop shitting. Like, Like, there are Nobel Prize-winning genius physicists. There was a guy giving a speech, and he had to leave the stage to go diarrhea. It's absurd. The poor guy, like a sick dog in a stall, the biggest brain on earth. It's just like, please, Elon Musk, stop with the rockets, figure this shitting thing out. And then, and then I was thinking about how we're apes and we talk to ourselves. Like, do apes, like do they talk to themselves? Do gorillas talk to themselves? I don't actually know that. I don't think they do. I think we're the only apes that talk to ourselves, which is absurd. Who is talking to who? It's like, dude, I saw you, like, right now, I'm talking to myself saying, this is horrible. This is a horrible thing to be doing. No one's laughing. What, you idiot? You fucking idiot. Why are you up here? Why are you sharing your midlife crisis with strangers? You know, like, I'm talking to myself like that. But then someone asked me, like, who are you talking to? And I'm like, I'm talking to myself. Who's I? What? Wait, who's myself? Well, fuck you! Fuck you! Don't ask me those hard questions. But then I realized that everyone talks to himself, which means that you're literally crazy. We're all nuts. We're all crazy, and that's a beautiful thing. Yeah, baby. You just gotta lean into it. It's fun to be crazy. My wife and I started to do it. Like, she'll be like bad at me. She'll be like, you think you're acting like I'm crazy. And I'm like, you are crazy. And I'm crazy too. And that's great. And then, like, my kids are in another room, like, listening, just like looking at each other like, I think we need to leave. They're little kids. They're like, I think we need to find a new parent. But once I realized that crazy was good, I started leaning into talking to myself. And I actually talked to my future self. He's like 85. And I journal with him. And sometimes it's like marijuana based, but often now I can do it sober. And I really have a connection with this guy. And I'll be like, is that one more minute?
No, you're at 5.
Oh, fuck, this is good. Such a good final bit. Did you give me the warning?
I gave you the one at 4, and then I gave you the one at 5.
You're a beautiful man. I guess it will have to wait. But next time I will tell you all about my dialogue with my 85-year-old self. I hope you'll come back. Thank you for your time.
Okay, welcome, keep it going for Josh Marquis, everybody.
I can promise you one thing. The bit that I was so upset not to have time to do in open mic number 5, such a good bit that I promised that crowd I would get to next time. Not only have I not gotten to that crowd next time, but I did it at a different place a few days later, and shocker, it was not such a good bit. But I'm psyched that I was that delusional and just feeling it. That was an interesting open mic, because in listening back, I don't think I really didn't care about the fact that everyone was just slack-jawed, like looking at me and not laughing. I don't think they even were slack-jawed. They're just like, what is going on? This isn't comedy. But then I did kind of the same bit the next time, and, hey, check it out. Check it out. Don't give up on stuff. This friendlier crowd, different delivery, but same kind of material. So here it is again. New night, same attempt. Didn't give up on it. Here we go.
Everyone, make lots of noise for David Walton.
You guys are, this is a good looking crew. I gotta tell you, I've done a lot of acid. And what's happened, and not like the microdosing kind, like the real heroic dosing. I sort of look down on microdosing. I don't know if anyone else does. It's cute. It's cute. You do your little micros. But no, there's a lot of risk with it, right? And one of the risks that I'm currently suffering from is that I look at all human beings now as apes. And we are, right? We are great apes. We actually are. But what's hard is that I just sort of like walk down the street and everyone just looks like they're like on the savannah plain. And it's not like a thing of imagining people naked or anything, because not to be nervous. But it is like we are great apes who just have a wild assortment of clothing for purchase. And that's it. It's really it. It's the only difference. There's a few other differences. And I'm very excited about technology. I'm scared of it, of course, and I bet all of us are. But I'm scared of AI a little bit. But like we're so animal. And has anyone here ever made love on mushrooms? Yeah. Okay. Well, it can be really wonderful, but it really just opens your eyes to just how fucking animal we are as humans, how apish we are. All the noises and the juices. I'm so sorry. But it got me thinking about technology. Like, I'm just so pissed off that we haven't figured out this shitting problem. Crazy. Like, there was a Nobel Prize-winning scientist who was giving a speech. He invented some quantum theory, just magic, and he had to leave the podium to go diarrhea. It's absurd that we're still having to do that. And I'm hoping Elon Musk or any of these pioneers can figure it out, because until then, we really will still be apes. And I'm hoping that we can somehow break free, transcend these physical limitations. The other thing that feels different than apes is that we talk to ourselves. Like, I don't do a lot of gorilla documentaries, but I don't see gorillas like, you know, like I'm a self-loather. How many people self-loathe? Most stand-ups? But, yeah, like self-loathing is fascinating because I kind of lean into it. Like I play a lot of sports and I just lash myself and then I play better. So there is usefulness to it. But it's just got me thinking that like if you are talking to yourself, and now we'll get metaphysical, but obviously there's no two different. I and myself, it's all a dream. And so once we realize that we're all crazy, all of us, and there's different levels, of course, but that we're all crazy, life becomes way more fun. And I've explained this to my wife with varying degrees of success. And she will be like, you think I'm crazy? And I'd be like, yes, I do, but I'm crazy too. And then I like imagine my kids in the next room like looking at each other being like, I think we've got to leave. I think this is our time to leave our parents. Okay, here's the moment that I was originally going to cut it off, but because it is the bit that I thought was so good, I'm going to include it, even though it just pains me so deeply. But once you're excited about being crazy, you lean into it. That's what I started to do in my life. Like, I talk to my 90-year-old future self. We're talking 2065, and he has amazing wisdom. I give him a voice and everything. And I just hang in my office, and I'm like, what's going on, future David? And he's like, oh, hello, you precious child. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just a little confused, you know, life's hard. He's like, but you do not have to worry about a thing. And I'm like, why are you speaking with a British accent? And he's like, oh, you'll find out, don't worry. And then he goes, well, this is what I want you to do, because I know you're feeling glum. But I want you to go, I want you to take your precious children, and I want you to hug them. I want you to hug them. They will be growing old, and you will be so sad once they've left the house. And then I want you to, your parents will probably be going, passing, dropping their bodies soon, and so why don't you write a letter and tell them how much you love them. And then your wife, your gorgeous wife, she is doing the dishes, she's working her tail off. And I want you to go up to her at the sink, and I want you to ravage her. I want you to pull her out and bend her over the sink, and I want you to just penetrate. And I'm like, whoa, man. What's going on? That's wildly inappropriate. That's my wife. And he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It's just so dreadful. Dreadful here in 2065. Everybody's just fucking AI dolls.
Everybody's fucking AI dolls. They're everywhere. It's wretched. It's all cleaned up.
I'm really obsessed with AI, and it's not like no, no. I actually thought that was going to get a laugh. That's fun. Yeah, but everyone is going to be fucking AI dolls in a couple years, everybody. I'm just warning you right now, including my future self. No, but in general, when my future self starts getting randy and he starts getting attracted to my wife, I can't resist, and I usually rub one out. The problem is he's watching, and so I have to go and send him off to another room. But we do it together, and it's great. We have a good relationship. Anyway, thank you all. Thanks for being here tonight. Okay, so let's just ignore the fact that I hit in one 4-minute thing the 3 most hack beginner topics, which is drugs, fucking, and shitting. And let's just ignore that because this crowd was responding to my material. Now, were they responding to other people? I don't remember. It was obviously a warm room, and probably listening back to all my open mics, the warmest room I've ever been in. There was about 15 people there, and I think the person who was introducing knew that I was on New Girl, and maybe a few people in the audience recognized me, and so maybe I'm like experiencing one of those things where, you know, they're just so warm because they know you already, as opposed to just a stranger talking about acid, fucking, and shitting. But regardless of what the reason was, there is information, there is data when you listen and you see where the laughs are. I done a lot of acid to open up. I remember thinking like, that's a nice way to start because it just cuts right to it, and it may give me a bunch of leeway to be weird and not funny. And I think it did. I think it does. It's effective, and I think I'll keep it. I'll keep trying it maybe as a starter, because I don't know. I feel like it just helps let people relax and be like, okay, this is going to be kind of weird, and we're going to give him a break. He's done too much acid. So I'll call that a keeper. The way of looking at people as apes. I got a big laugh on, or I got a legitimate laugh on people are just apes with like an absurd availability of clothing for purchase. That one worked. Maybe expand on that idea. I could do a mind map. I'm starting to do mind maps. So it's like you write in the center of the piece of paper, like humans as apes. And then I'll just free associate a bunch of stuff. Maybe I'll work on that. And that can be a new test run. And then we moved on and we got into mushroom sex, which honestly, now we're getting into psychedelics and sex. And then I said juicy, and I felt so gross that I said, I'm so sorry. And the audio quality is so bad. I was so sorry for that. It was a messed up situation, but they really laughed hard when I was like, I'm so sorry. So that was interesting, listening back, that got a big laugh. And then when I talk about self-loathing, everybody responded to that because I think it was a room mostly full of stand-ups. And of course, everyone's a big self-loather in the world of stand-up. And obviously you heard the cheers. The AI trying to eliminate shitting with tech. And then the crazy. The kids realizing that their parents are nuts. I think there's a premise there where parents feel like they're in control, or they're at least behaving normally, and you switch the perspective where kids are listening to their parents be like, you're crazy, I'm crazy, crazy's good, and then they're looking at each other like, what the fuck? I think we need to leave. I think I need to find new parents. There needs to be a better punchline there. But that is a funny idea, I think. This kids losing trust in their parents. I like that. I like that world. Because every day your kid kind of is like, really? Especially this day and age. I used to think my parents were so put together. It was only when I got into my sort of 20s that I realized that they're just, emotional children. But my kids, because we're around each other so much, just look at me like, oh my God, Dad's a mess. So yeah, I like that perspective of kids just realizing that their parents aren't to be trusted. That's funny to me. And then, of course, we got into the British accent. My first act out, my first voice ever on stage. Tremendous dork tingles listening to that, but I do like talking about this dying British man. Oh, he's so perverted. Yeah, I don't know. That's one of those weird voices I've done in the shower, and decided to put it up there. I remember feeling a lot of embarrassment as I was doing it, but I just stuck with it up there. But I was embarrassed doing it because it really wasn't. I'm not sure it was adding anything, but yeah, it's my old person voice. And then, of course, I'm just trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. I'm trying to make. I was trying to make. Again, this was 7 months ago, but I was trying to make this idea of journaling your future self funny. And when I listen back to it now with the time that's gone by, I'm like, this is just too strange. It's just not. It's not. Maybe there's a line there, but I got to let it go. I got to let it go. So again, I'm really happy for this podcast because without it, I would never go back and do this. It's too uncomfortable. I would have never gone back and tried to learn from these things. I did at the time, but not this much later. And it's been really valuable. So I thank you for forcing this forcing function is great. It's time to go. I know we're sad. I know it's sad. It is sad. But let's not get crazy. I can't keep going. I can't just keep going. It's so late. I'm so tired. I've emptied the tank for this one. I've emptied it. I've emptied it for you. I do this for you. So you gotta let me go. I know it's hard. I know you want me to keep talking for hours. Have the most fun holiday ever. So much fun. So much laughter. So much love and connection. Maybe a little venery, but I'm not going to go there. It's the holidays. Of course I hope you get it. But if you don't, life's not just about that. It's about so much more. Just have a blast. And I'll see you the day after Christmas. Bye.